Alright, this is a JavaScript calendar created with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let me show you what it does. Now this is showing the current date, which is 25th December 2022, and you can see, let me open the current calendar on the desktop. So you can see it's Sunday, so it's properly showing on Sunday, and the first is on Thursday. In case if you want to see the previous, you just need to click on the previous button, and again let me cross check. So Tuesday is first, and Wednesday is 30th. Cool. Likewise, you can visit previous month and the future month as well by pressing on next, and this is showing the current date. Now this is the 2023 calendar. So let me show you how to create this from scratch. With to follow along, I'll leave the source code in the description. In case if you got stuck somewhere, you can just copy paste the code which is in the description. Fine, now let's get started. Alright, let's start creating the UI for this project. Now we need three files: HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Let me create index2.html. I'm creating it on the same folder, that's why I'm giving it as a index2. You can give any name, and again style2.css. okay, let this be JS. Control and Control S, style2.css. Cool. We just on the style sheet we need the font link, which you can get it from the Google. So I'm just going to copy paste it. It will save some time for us. Now the font I'm going to use is Poppins, and here are the two variation which we need. The boldest one is 600 and the lightest one is 300. Cool. Now let's get into the HTML. On the index2.html exclamatory tab, let's link the two files, style2.css, and it is recommended to have script at the bottom, that's why I'm doing it, script2.js. Now we need a container which holds our data, so I'm going to name it as container, the class. Let's have an header. Inside the header we need an p tag, and it will be current. I'll give it a class current date. I'll just copy paste the code just to save time since it's HTML. And on the header class we have two children. The first one is paragraph and the second one is div with class icons. And on the icons we are using two icons. So to get the icons we need this link, which is CDN for the font awesome icon, which you get it from the W3 school. So this is the font awesome. Control V, which will hide the sidebar, and this is the CDN, and with the help of the CDN we are able to see these two links, these two icons. So copy this URL and paste it and give it index2.html, and you can see the current date is December, and the two icons has shown up because of this link. If this link is not there, you won't be getting it. Cool. And the next thing, after heading we need the calendar div, which holds two set of li. The first ul, the first unordered list with class week, and the second unordered list with class days. So let me copy this and paste it in our index2.html after the header. So the first unordered list has the class week, the second unordered list has the class days, and it holds all the numbers. So this would be dynamically populated with JavaScript. Just for our design purpose, I'm just replicating the same UI for our if I show you and compare, we'll compare both and you'll get to know easily. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which is inactive, that's what we have mentioned here. And on the 1st of February, 1st of Jan, it's again a Sunday, that's why it's inactive. I have mentioned it's at inactive. And 24 is active. You're getting it as orange in our UI, and you can see on hovering, you're hovering on the date, you're getting some effect. The same I have added it over here. Cool. So just copy paste the code. It's just a list of LIs with a number inside, starting from 28 and ends on 1. And if it is active, again, if it is 24, I have added the class active. If it is inactive, I have added the class inactive. 28, 20, these 3 are inactive, and finally the 1 is inactive. That's what I have mentioned. So that's it for the HTML. Let's directly jump into the CSS. So if I refresh this page, this is how it looks. Now we need the body. I want the content which is inside the body to be at the center of the screen. For that, what we'll do is display flex, align item center, justify content center. In order for the align items to work, we have to give height to it. Height 100% of viewport height. So this will uh, this will vertically center our element. This will horizontally center our element. So in this case, the child of the body is container. If you see, the direct child of the body is container, so it is going to place the container at the center of the screen. Now this you can see, since we have given height 100% of the viewport height, we are able to see the scroll bar. If you don't want to see, what you can do is we can make this overflow hidden. If you refresh, you won't be able to see the scroll bar. Along with that, previously we have header that's got cut, and after 23 we have some set of list item. It is also got cut because of the overflow hidden. If you want to see, you can make this, you can remove this. That's not the scope of this work. Now please jump into the CSS. So I'm going to give the body a color. So the website I'm going to use is color hunt. I have some list of websites for the content. If you see, for the colors, we have three websites, which is color palettes, coolers, and adobe color. So I'm picking this website for this particular tutorial. Let's pick some beautiful color. So this looks good. Click on it and you will be able to pick the color. Just copy this and use hash and paste it. Now you will be able to see the background color. Ctrl Shift V to hide the bookmark. Now let's directly call the container, and let's give the width of the container as 450 pixel, and let's give the background color as white. If you refresh this is how it looks. And whatever is inside the container, I want to be displayed as a row. So what is the children of container? So the container has header, direct children. The first one is header, and the second children is calendar. I want them to be displayed as rows instead of columns. One below. I don't want to be displayed as one below other. I want them to be as rows. So display flex. Now we'll see header, and one more thing. We'll call the list item, and we'll make them display flex. So now everything is acting as a row. And for the list item, I want to remove the dots. So list style none. Refresh it. Now you're able to see it. Now what happens is, since we have given these two items as flex, what is happening is the header and calendar are side by side. This is header and this is again calendar. So these are headers. So the container, call the container and use the flex wrap. So instead of flex wrap, it's flex direction column. So one below there, you got it. And then let's directly call the header class. The header has two child again, the paragraph and the icon. Cool. Now what we need is, again I'm going to use display flex. So I want it to be side by side instead of one below the other. And justify content space between. So December and these two icons are going to stick on both the sides. And for the container, let me add padding. For all sides, I want them to be on 2 rem. That's good. Now inside the header we have paragraph, and inside the paragraph we have icon class, which holds 2 I tags, which is an icons. Now let's add the font size of 1.5 rem, and we can add font weight to it, which is 600. Now it's time for the icons. We're going to directly access the eye. Let's give the background color as black, and the color is going to be white. And let's add padding, or instead of giving padding, let's add height as 40 pixel, width as 40 pixel, and whatever is there inside, it need to be at the center. So display flex, align item center, justify content center. I think we have made a mistake. Instead of doing this, we'll use text align center, and line height, it's a trick. Line height, if we give the line height equal to the height of the div, the whatever is there in the content, it will come into the center. So that's what we got. Now in case if you want to add a hover effect, you are free to do. When I hover it, I want the background color to be red. Let's try it. You can see red is working. Let's pick the color. Let's pick some light color. This looks very dark. Don't forget to add hash. It's a hex code, so hash is needed, or else it will treat as a string. So if I hover it, so fine, that works. This is not bad. And if you want a slow transition, you need to add transition 0.5 seconds. So that works. And again, I want the pointer to be cursor. View pointer. It's not events. Just pointer. Actually, it's cursor pointer. I'm sorry for that. I got a little confused. Cool. If I hover it, you'll see it's a pointer now. Now let's jump into the unordered list. Unordered list with class weeks, and unordered list with class days. Again, I am not sure with the class. It's weeks and days. Both are plurals. Cool. Now I want this. We want to access the list item. Let's give the width. Since we need 7 in a row, so 100 divided by 7. Let's CSS calculate it with the function calc function. 100% divided by 7, so 7 in a row. Weeks are working but days are not working. Let me see why. We don't need this for now. Let me close this. Okay, and the next thing, we have to make this height of, let's say, 40 pixel. Width we have already given it. Let me give background color something red so that we can see how it works. And since we have given display flex, we have to use another property, flex wrap. Now let me remove this. Since I have given flex wrap, it is taking only the 100% divided by 7, which is 100 divided by 7, which is 14%. If it exceeds more than 100%, it is going to take another row. If it exceeds 100%, again it's going to take another row. That's what this flex wrap does. If you remove it, it won't work. Fine, let's directly jump into it. Let's not too much get into CSS. Now we have weeks. Let's directly call the unordered list of weeks. Margin bottom 1 rem. Let's directly give a shorthand property, top and bottom, left and right 0. Cool, that works. Since we have given 40 pixel, it is taking it. Now for the days, I want the cursor to be pointer. Cool, that works. Now what we need is we're going to add an hover effect. There's a problem with my mouse. Now let's start giving hover effect. As you see, as I hover on each day, there is orangish color as a background. So this is not just a hover, we have used the pseudo element before. Let me use it. Colon before. In order for the pseudo element to work, what we need to do is we need to add content attribute to it. So let the width be, so before doing anything, make sure we have position relative to the list item. So let me give position relative because we are going to give position absolute to the pseudo element. So position absolute, left 0, or let's make this 50%, top colon 50%. Let's give the width and height as 100% so that it takes the height and width of list item. So height 100%, width 100%, and wait a second, and let's give background color red just to see whether we have actually getting what we need. Now if you see there's a problem, so we have to use a property called transform. Translate x-axis 50%, y-axis minus 50%. Both of them should be in a negative value. Now it will cover. Now we have to use z index 1 to this and z index minus 1 to this. So now you got it. So now if you see, we have to do this only when we are hovering on the list item. So when I hover on the list item, we see we are getting that hover effect. So the reason for not doing directly hover effect, I'll show you in the JavaScript. Now this is not at the center, so we want the number to be at the center. So display flex, align item center, and justify content center. And we can make the border radius 50%. And so for this, so I think we have to give some height to the list item. Let's make this 50 pixel. Now it's perfectly alright. Now let me give this EDEPE on hover. It's a gray value, you can see. So what we can do is we can make this slightly orangish, just copy paste this and hover on the color. You will able to see this. Refresh it. Cool, that's working. Now let's work on the inactive class. Inactive, and let's make the opacity of 0.5 and background color gray. I think this is too much. Let's try, no, let's leave it. Select this, you'll see a gray color. Let's just adjust it. So this works good. Let's make the opacity of 0.2 or 0.3. Cool. We are almost done. Now it's time for the active class. Let's make this background color as this orange, not the opacity. Cool. This is what we need. Now let's start working on the JavaScript. The first thing what we need to do is we need to populate this number, this list item. Now at present, Control P. Now at present, what really happens is we are automatically populating this, so we don't want this. Remove this and let JavaScript do this work for you. So for that, the very first thing what we need to do is we need to populate this current date. Let me make this camel case. We need to populate this. So document dot query selector, since it's a class, I'm going to use period header date. Now we need to create an object of date and store it into a variable called date, and with this date we'll be getting year and month. So date dot get full year, this will give the current year. So let me make this year variable, and again get full month. Actually it's get month, and let's store this into a variable called months. Now let me show you by populating it with a function populate dates. Let's create this function. So this function will load when the page starts loads by itself. So get the date dot inner HTML, use backticks and template title. This is called template title. We need to pass this year and this month. Let me refresh this. So this is 11, which is actually it is showing November. It is because of the month starts from 0 and ends on 11. Since we have 12 months, our months start from 1, but the JavaScript counts as an array starting from 0 and ends on 11. So what we need to do is we need to create an array called months, and let me create an array. So let's pass this index number, so now you got rightly, because 0 starting from 0 and ends on 11. 11 means December, so it's December 22. As you can see, it's showing 24th December. Now let's populate these dates. So for that we need to get the last day of the week, sorry, of this month, last day of the month. Once I get the last day of the month, if you see, if it returns 13, I'll use the for loop to run from 1 to 13 and display it on the HTML. So let me get the last day of the week, day of the month. So using new date, we need to pass the current year. So this is current year, and we need to pass the current month. Now here we need to pass the exact value, which is 12. We will be getting 11, but we need to pass the exact value 12, and then the time, and then get date. So this will give you the last date of the month, last date of month. Once we get the last day, let me just display it on the console log. Let me check whether we are actually getting 31. Yes, we're getting it. So let's use the for loop. For variable I will start from 1, I will run till the last day of the week, greater than equal to, and then I plus plus, it will keep on incrementing. Now console dot log, let me pass I, and we'll be getting from 1 to 31. This 31 is because of this. Let me remove this. Now we need to create an HTML. Let's say li tag, and we need to populate it with the HTML. Select this and use the backtick, create the list item, pass the I. Now let's face this at the bottom. Now we need to get this list item days, so call this oh sorry, days ul days. So ul dot inner HTML equal to, make sure you add plus or else you'll be just getting 31. We are concatenating. So here you go, starting from 1 ends on. Now let's start the icons. Let's make this icon work. So for that we need to get the icons on the JavaScript. Document dot query selector. Since we have two icons, we'll be using all, and inside the class icon we have I tag. Let's store this into a variable and we'll name this as all icons. Now to access one by one, we'll be using for each, and we'll be getting one by one icon using this parameter ICO. Now if you want, you can check console.log, refresh this. Let me remove this console, it's taking so much space. So it's a class, so we have two icons. Cool. So we need to add a event listener, which is click. Now we need to get the ID of the icon, so we have not added any ID to it. So let me add ID. This is going to be previous and this is going to be next. So to get the icon ID, we can use icon dot ID. So this will give you the ID of the icon. So console.log. So once I click on it, I'll be getting the ID of each icons. Now using for loop, for ternary operator, if this is equal to previous, then we need to make the current month plus 1, else we need to make current month minus 1. And don't forget, we have to store this into the same variable and re-render the dates. Let's try refreshing it. Previous. There is problem with the, let me console log this once, refresh it. Previous, so you're getting 12, previous 13. Actually we need to make this minus and this as plus, because we have clicked plus, not. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So this works fine. Now if I click on plus, so it should get added 1. So once it reaches a certain number, that is 12, so that is 11, it will be performing undefined, because on each click it is going to get incremented by 1. So here we have to add a condition. If this dot month is greater than 11, then we have to make this dot month equal to 0. Let's try. Plus negative, negative, negative. If I click on adding, once it reaches 11, it should say, once it reaches 11, let me refresh and check. So now it's 10, 11. So on one click it is not working. If it is greater than or equal to 11, now this should work. 10 for increment. So cool, that works. Now it's still in 2022 because once the Jan comes, it should be 2023. So for that, what we can do is again this dot year equal to this dot year plus 1. Let's try it again. So now 2023, cool. So it's working as we need, as we thought. Now if I decrement the value, you will see once it reaches 0, let's check the year. It's not working because if you see, it's getting into the negative value. So we need to add again else if this gets into negative value, if it is less than 0, then we have to make this as 11 and we need to decrement the year. So let's try it. Keep on incrementing. Yes, it's working. So once it reaches, let's see whether we are getting the 2022 value again. Yes, we are getting the 2022 value as well. 2021 works fine. 2022 and then 2023. This is what we need.